Hello, it's Ren Presents time. I'm your host, Ren, and we continue with the House of Bloodstein, Mentralysis, Part 1, Dreams in the Wailing Room, Chapter 2, Ennez and Tellerran. In our last chapter, Sam awoke from her malic sleep as she recovered from the Hemolizer attack inflicted upon her by the Wonderlux. In the battle in the treasure room, she needed a fair amount of time to recover. She had been bled out pretty well, and monomas don't recover their blood very quickly, so she needed complete and total bed rest. Ennez diagnosed her, gave her a malic, which would keep her out for exactly 7 days. But of course, as Sam awakens, she doesn't know how long she's been out. Looks for Kay, he's not there. Everything seems just a little bit amiss. Everyone's gone. She's hearing weird noises, like a ringing sound in her ear. And that always, to me, seemed to make for the most disquieting of scenes is where everything looks correct, everything's in the right spot, everything looks normal, but just something isn't quite right. And as the chapter wore on, Sam was starting to panic. She gets a message from this strange hospitaler named Lord Rawl of Niles, who claimed to be from HOBM, and he asked her a bunch of strange questions and promised that her husband, Kay, would speak to her after the questioning was over. She got to talk to Kay, and it reassured her, and she decided just to hang out in her favorite reading room and work on her pillow until he returned home. And then she got a weird message from Sarah, and Sarah's messages are always kind of weird. She's kind of a flighty kid, hard to concentrate on more than one thing at a time. Sarah is spouting nonsense, basically, about the Hospitalers, and they don't know what they're doing, and blah, 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 and she was gonna fix it for her. Sam was like, well, are you drunk? What are you talking about? And she says, well, you'll find out. And then she tells her, come to the window and look out. And that's where the chapter ended. So we continue with Part 1, Chapter 2, Ennez and Tellerran. Let's proceed, shall we? Floating on air in her boots and duster over the mountain precipice was Sarah, blue ponytail bouncing on the wind. Hi, Sam, she cried, floating in space. Look at me, I'm flying. Still think you could kick my butt? Sam was open-mouthed. Sarah, what in the name of creation are you doing out there? I'm flying, can't you see? She whirled around in a grand flourish. Get in here at once. Sarah laughed. What for? Hey, don't worry about Rawl and his goons. I fixed their wagon for 'em, but good just now. You mean the Hospitaler on HOBM? Yep. I knocked out their crappy RDP and put in my own better one, and he's not going to be able to get it out. What is an RDP? Sam asked. Rawl had used the same term, RDP, and now Sarah was also using it. Never mind. Just know they had you in a really poopy one, and I saved you from it. You can smell in mine nice as you please. Thank me later. Sarah, what are you talking about? From the east, a small private yacht came in and softly landed in the castle ship park. Sarah watched it with interest. Looks like you have a visitor, Sam, she said. Right on time, too. 2 people came out of the yacht. Look, Sam, Sarah cried, pointing. It's Ennez. Sam looked down. She was elated. Far below was Ennez of Innari, a close friend of the family, and a Hospitaler Samaritan of the Knickerbaum order. He had repaired the hole in her neck made by the Wonderluck Hemolizer and given her a malic meant to restore her. He was probably sent here by Rawl to examine her and explain these odd goings-on. Ennez was the Hospitaler Sam trusted most. She considered him a dear friend. Walking with Ennez was a monoma woman, no mistaking the ankle-length coal-black hair flowing at her back and the chalky white skin of her face and arms. The 2 of them were greeted by the staff and led across the Dragon-Tooth Bridge into the castle proper. See that chick with him, Sam? Sarah asked. That's his squeeze, Lady Tellerran. You met her briefly before Ennez put you out, but I think you were out of your head with medications, so you might not recall her. She's from the Fanook tribe. I think I'm saying that right. Oh dear Lord, Sam said with disgust. A Fanook? Sam, coming from the stately Astralon tribe, considered the Fanooks rubes and peasants, barbarians from the south shore of the lake. In any event, it's good to see him. Come on in, Sarah, and we'll see him together. Sarah hovered in midair. I'll be along. Go on, Sam. You never want to keep a Hospitaler waiting, except for that Rawl guy, and he gets to piss off from now on. Sam considered that. I see, she said. Well, hurry up. I need you with me, Sarah. It's been a trying day so far. Sarah waved as Sam pulled back inside. Remember, Sam, Castle Bloodstein. I think you'll find your answers there. Don't forget. What answers? Castle Bloodstein! And with that, Sarah joyously flew away into the distance, swooping about like an insane bird. Sam was puzzled, but that wasn't an unusual thing with Sarah. She was quite unfathomable sometimes. She turned and went down to the ground floor. Ennez was here. He was an old family friend and had sailed with Kay's father, Captain Davidge, for over 40 years. Sarah had just said he had taken up with a Monomoh girl. She wondered if, perhaps, he could have done himself better. The Fanooks were not highly regarded by Sam's Astralon tribe. Fanooks tended to be crass and barbaric, and they spoke that ugly Konox language from the south of the lake. If Ennez had wanted to court a Monomoh girl, Sam could have introduced him to any number of her available sisters. They would have loved his blonde hair, blue eyes, and that elder belly button they all found so provocative. Her sisters would have fought over an elder man like Ennez. All he needed to do was ask. She exited Zorn Tower and went out into the main area of the castle. Anne Dora was waiting for her. Ah, Nee Countess. It's been a busy morning so far. We have guests, and they are requesting to see you specifically. They have been accommodated in the Firth House and properly refreshed. Thank you. I will see Hospitaler Ennez at once. Please ask Lady Sarah to join me as soon as she can. Aye, Nee Countess. Sam went out into the sun-bathed Palatine courtyard. The great black stone mass of the Firth House sat at the northern end, dwarfed all around by the bulk of the surrounding castle. Sam swung open the great oaken door and went in, never failing to be startled by the life-size statue of Kay's grandfather, Lord Sadric, which greeted everyone entering the Firth House. Across the rare hardwood floor, seated on a couch of HOBM silks, were Ennez and the Monomoh woman, their pinkies locked together in a Monomoh tradition from the southern shores of the lake. Sam, hailing from the northern parts, didn't think much of the South Monomoh tribes, the Cardinals, the Darathons, and least of all, the insipid Fanooks. They were all peasants in her mind. Ennez, an odd, skinny fellow with puffy blonde hair, was wearing his usual black and silver Hospitaler uniform and shiny silver helmet, hammered with elegant wings. Very unlike that Rawl fellow from HOBM, Ennez was loose and casual with the wear of his uniform, as informal as one could get. The Monomoh woman with him was dressed in a red leather marine flight jacket festooned with pins and fancy insignia, a white blouse with a string tie clipped at her throat, a tight-fitting pair of black pants, and a pair of tall leather boots with long, spiky heels. A Snugs medallion hung around her neck, nestled in the frilly folds of her blouse. Like Sam, her thick hair went down to her ankles in a carpet of coal-black Monomoh curls. Though Sam tried to suppress it, she felt she already disliked this Monomoh woman. Without her having uttered a word, she seemed like a barbarian to Sam. Samaritan Ennez, Sam said warmly, arms open wide. It is always a pleasure to see you, sir. She turned to the woman. And, who is this, please? Ennez stood. Lady Sammy Dorn, I'd like you to meet Lady Tellerran of the Fanook tribe. She was there when I treated your neck. You probably don't remember her. She's been dying to properly meet you. Fanooks. Rabble. I see, Sam said. Tellerran stood up. She was a typical Konox or lesser Monomoh, standing much shorter and slighter than Sam. She was wearing a pair of boots with a healthy 3-inch heel. Sam herself wore a pair of flat sandals, but even so, Sam was taller than Tellerran by several inches. Tellerran's bone-white skin stood out from her black and red clothing. Sam, living in the sunny north, had developed a slight but definite rose hue to her skin tone. She found Tellerran's fog-bound, bone-dead pallor distasteful. Her figure lacked curves, and her bosom was slight. Her hips were workmanlike and solid, made for birthing a great many children. Her nails were also long and black. Sam once wore her nails in a similar fashion, but she had learned the Vith found them rather aggressive and intimidating to look at. So she cut them down to a much shorter length, requiring 2 attendants and a power file every day. Sam now considered herself Vith, well beyond her Monomo roots. All she had to do was learn to speak Vith, and her transformation would be complete. Seeing Tellerran's scythe-like nails reminded her of the many barbaric habits her people indulged in that she now found distasteful. Also, as a final slight in Sam's rather biased opinion, Tellerran was not really a beautiful girl. Ennez could do much better. A great pleasure, madam, Sam said. Tellerran smiled and nodded. Does she speak? Sam asked Ennez. She doesn't speak League Common, Sam. Only Konox, he replied. I often wonder what she utters during some of our more adult encounters when she's squeezing the life out of me with those legs of hers, but I don't speak a word of her native tongue. Do you speak Konox, Sam? It might make her feel a little more at home to hear some familiar words. Sam spoke Anui, which was similar to Konox in many ways. Still, no, I do not. Pity. Ennez gave Sam a long, appraising look. Then he turned to Lady Tellerran and did the same. Wow, I'd read about the differences between the Konox monomas and the Inuians like yourself, Sam. There really is quite a difference in size and topical anatomy. Sam nodded. Inuians are much larger than the Konox, that is true. Well, there's the size. I also notice you have very different cranial shape. Your lips have those distinctive notches that Tells doesn't have. Your eyes and your orbitals are also of an entirely different configuration. You're much more heavily constructed. Remarkable. I should like to fully document these differences and add to our knowledge. However, the reason for our visit today is to give you a checkup. I'd heard you were having some unusual symptoms. I'm glad I was available to come back on short notice. I'm grateful for your presence, Ennez. He pulled several small scanners out of his uniform pockets. So, if you'd be so kind, take a seat and I'll check you over. Thank you. Sam seated herself. I've been having trouble with my nose today as well. Trouble smelling, and I've been hallucinating. Your nose? Yes. I'll take a look at it. Hallucinations too? Yes. Lady Tellerran smiled at her. Purty mornin', she said in Konox as Ennez worked. The language sounded broken and pitched into Sam's ear. She pretended she didn't understand, as she frankly had nothing to say to the woman. Tellerran reached into the pocket of her flight jacket and pulled out a small indicar to translate for her. She turned it on and held it up in the flat of her palm, her long black nails glistening. I really am a poor linguist. I'm afraid I can't make much out of League Common, though Ennez has tried to teach me, came her synthesized voice from the indicar. I'm certain you'll get the hang of it one day, darling, Ennez added. Darling? Sam asked. Yep. The two of us recently decided to give married life a try. I took her back to Inaris and we got hitched. Though Sam already knew that, she was appalled. Really? Well, congratulations, I hadn't heard. I didn't know you fancied Monoma girls, Ennez. You should have said something, for I have many sisters. Ennez laughed as he scanned her. It just sort of happened. Tells is the girl for me. I like her spirit. She just happens to be a Monoma. How is your neck, my lady? Tellerran asked through the indicar. Sam had to remember herself. Though this tiny woman was Fanook trash, she had to behave like a Vith-Ni countess. To ignore a guest and possibly offend Ennez and embarrass Kay would not do. It's fine. Thank you. Tellerran winked at her. I've never seen an Inuian before, she said. So big. So different. You're very beautiful. Astrolons are said to be so pretty. Sam felt like grabbing the Endicott from her hand and hitting her with it. Why did she feel so hostile? That wasn't like her, even though this woman was a miserable Fanook. Thank you, she replied, choking back scorn. Tellerran reached out and pinched Sam's biceps. So solid, she said. I've heard how strong Inuians are. She moved her Endicott aside and spoke in Konox. Look at you picked up a little weight eating all that nice Vith food. I'd picked up some weight too. Ennez likes a little padding while we're screwing. Said my manaba bones hurt him a lot. I'm interested in determining just how toughed up you be. Would you care to wrestle? Lake rules. Sam responded in Anui. I'm sorry, what did you say? I want to wrestle, fight, tussle. Lake rules. Say we gotta wrestle in the water or the lake, but anywhere in the vicinity will do. We is like to fight in Fanook. I've always wanted to scrap with an Inuian, and here you be, all Inuian-like. Fight this tiny Fanook woman? She would hardly be worth the effort. Kay, on his worst day, was probably stronger than she was, and much more skilled. What a bunch of heathens the Fanooks were, even though Sam's own Astrolon tribe had similar sports. Impromptu contests of speed and strength were a common event in her tribe, and the fact that the barbaric Fanooks did the same thing was galling. Being an Inuian, Sam was used to being challenged by the smaller Konoks who wanted to test their strength against hers. It happened all the time. She once had beaten two brothers and a sister from the Darathon tribe all at once during a challenge. She ignored Tellerran. Ennez ran his scanner down Sam's neck, inspecting the area that had been damaged. Well, your neck looks to be fully healed and with no scarring, thanks to me. Your blood levels are back to normal. How does your neck feel? A little sore, nothing to bother about. Good. Now what's this about your nose? He moved his scanner near her face. I was having trouble smelling earlier today. I smelled nothing, in fact. But you can smell now. Yes, I'm seeing some inflammation. Probably a reaction from the hemolyzer's hydraulic fluids. Very caustic. I must say, your nasal cavity and sinus arrangement are magnificent. Look at all those scent receptors. You can probably out-scent a hound dog. Is this hydraulic fluid dangerous? Probably. Might have made you seriously ill. Might have even killed you. I'm still collecting data. It got into your synapses. That was some bad stuff. A hemolyzer isn't meant to be very healthy for a person. He got out a small pouch containing several injectors. He pushed back Sam's sleeve and gave her a shot in the arm. What is that? She asked. Antidote. To what? To the maggotoxin from the hemolyzer. We had it run at our sanctum in Min's. I'm certain it was reacting with your brain. Soon it would have taken full effect. You would become emotionally unstable to the point of being psychotic. Are you feeling unsettled? Do you feel moody? Was it her exposure to the hemolyzer that was making her feel so angry and giving her wild, vivid dreams? I feel a little moody, yes. I've had an unpleasant morning, to say the least. I'm reading all sorts of toxic neurochemicals floating around in your head, along with a whole cocktail of hormones, all extremely elevated. The antidote I gave you will fully arrest its effects, and you should start to come down. But it might take a few days before you're feeling yourself again. He looked around. I was hoping to locate Kay, Sarah, and the rest, as they were exposed to the hemolyzer as well. They were? Your hemolyzed blood, Sam. It probably had the same chemicals in it, and everybody, including Kay, breathed it in. I want to administer the antidote to them as a precaution. Well, Sarah's about someplace, so you can administer the medication to her, but Kay, Philip, and Thomasina are not here. They're out. I don't know where. I was hoping you'd know. He scanned her head. I heard they were all at Castle Bloodstein checking up on Lady Chrysania. Where's Sarah? I just saw her a few minutes ago. She was flying around outside my tower window. Flying? Sarah doesn't know how to fly a ripcar. No, she didn't have a ripcar. She was hovering in the air on her own, like a bird. Ennez scanned her head again. Think you must have been hallucinating. No, Ennez, I know I saw her. I spoke to her not 10 minutes ago. She told me you had arrived. You saw Sarah flying outside your window on her own without a ripcar or any other means of flight. I did. She was saying that Rawl and his people, whoever they are, were amateurs, and she was gonna fix it. Fix what? I have no idea, Sam said. And Rawl, who's Rawl? He's a Hospitaler on HOBM, Lord Rawl of Niles, he said. Ennez checked his scanner and punched up data. Rawl of Niles is in fact a Hospitaler from HOBM, as you said. Never met him myself. Looks like he's an E. What's an E? Sam asked. An Ephesian. It's a sect within the Hospitalers. Lots of secret stuff and special projects. Too stuffy for me. I like being a freewheeling knickerbomb. Ennez, how concerned should I be about this chemical? I have no idea when Kay and the others shall return. Might they be in danger? Maybe. Till I know for certain, I'd like to err on the side of caution and treat them with the antidote as soon as possible, just to make sure. I'm certain they're fine, but I want to examine them all just in case. Sam was worried. She stood and paced the room, hand on her chin. And you've no way to contact them? Ennez asked. No, I don't know where they are. The Goshawk is gone. Castle Bloodstein you mentioned. I could try the castle and see if they answer. Sam went to the comm. Andorra, she said. A few moments later, Andorra answered. Yes, my countess? Will you please attempt to raise the Goshawk? Aye, my countess. I will have my colleague in the comm center begin the query immediately. Thank you. Inform me right away when the Goshawk is reached. If you are unable to reach the Goshawk, then try to raise Castle Bloodstein and inquire if they are there. Yes, ma'am. They sat in the gilded room for a while. Several plates of refreshments were brought in. Lady Tellerran seemed to have a big appetite, eating cookies and cakes with abandon. After a time of waiting with Sam, a nervous wreck, Andorra calmed. My countess, the Goshawk cannot be reached. Sam huffed. Thank you. What about Castle Bloodstein? They do not answer our comms, my lady. Thank you. She had a thought. Ennez, can you take me to Castle Bloodstein? Why? Because you said they might be there, and I was told that I might find answers there as well. Sarah said so. If Kay's health is at risk, I want him treated as soon as possible, and at the moment, Castle Bloodstein is my best option for locating him promptly. Apparently, I can't simply have the staff fly me out. Something about protocol and scheduling. He laughed. That sounds about right. Well, I can't fly. If you'd like to ask my lady here, she might be happy to fly us out. She likes to fly me all over the place. Lord Davidge himself taught her. Lady Tellerran smiled and put her Endicare back into her pocket. Sam dreaded the prospect of having to ask a Fanook for anything. She addressed her in a sour, unladylike voice. Lady Tellerran, may I entreat you to take me to Castle Bloodstein? I shall be happy to pay for your time and fuel. Tellerran shrugged her shoulders. I cannot reconcile your meaning, she said in Conox. Sam replied in Annui, Yes, you can. For the love of creation, I am desperately trying not to become frustrated with you, Lady Tellerran. Therefore, would you please be good enough to take me to Castle Bloodstein? I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, Annui, such a purty language in it. You Astrolons think you so high and mighty, don't ya? You think we just clean your castle? I demand we wrestle lake style, just you and me. Fanook versus Astrolon. No kicking, no scratching, but punching and har pulling is allowed. That's my price for taking you to Castle Bloodstein. How about that? Har? Sam asked. What in the name of creation is har? Har! Har! All that long black purty har you got. I'm gonna pull it out. I have no time to waste rolling around with the likes of you. And then you not going to Castle Bloodstein, is ya? Tellerran crossed her arms and would not budge. Sam threw her hands up. Fine, fine. If you wish me to thoroughly thrash you and put you back into your proper place, then I shall do so, but not until my husband has been located and made safe. Tellerran was defiant. No, we're wrestling now. Understand, or you go nowhere. And I want Ennez to watch. I like him to seize me in action. My husband expects me to behave like a Vith lady, and this is foolish monoma behavior. Tellerran slapped her sides. Oh, yeah? Well, you looks like a monoma to me, girlie. You seems to want to be a Vith, but you ain't no Vith, is ya? You're a monoma, just like me, and this is what monomas do. Square up with it. I am warning you, little Konox peasant. If you wish to fight me, you're gonna get hurt. Bad. Mayhap not. We's agreed. It's you and me in the water right now. I refuse to fight you in the water and have my expensive clothing ruined, then nude. I want to place my bare skin against yours. Then behind the castle somewhere, right now. Sam reverted to lead common. Fine. What? Ennez asked. What's going on? Nothing. I was negotiating with the good lady Tellerran here. Such a fragile, delicate thing, isn't she? Ennez was shocked and pushed his silver helmet back. Fragile and delicate? Tells? Tellerran pulled her Indicar back out. So what are we waiting for? They exited the Firth house, Sam leading them through the landscape passes, through the castle and out into the grove. Where are we going? Ennez asked. To a spot in the grove I know. It's just up here. What for? Sam turned to Ennez, her eyes flashing. To fight. Your tiny little lady wants a match, otherwise she'll not take me to Castle Bloodstein. Ennez was beside himself. Oh, for creation's sake, Tells, you promised you wouldn't start anything today. She does this all the time, Sam. Everywhere we go, she's got to challenge somebody to something. Tellerran blew Ennez a kiss. You know you love it, she said through the Indicar. You know it gives you a thrill. They entered a small Vith ruin near the lake. Tellerran led Ennez to a convenient spot off to the side and seated him. She gave him a kiss and then removed her flight jacket, folding and handing it to him. Sam removed her collection of rings and bracelets, most of which given to her by Kay, and set them aside safely behind the wall. She rolled up her sleeves and stepped out of her sandals. I hope your lady knows what she's getting into, Ennez. I'm really in no mood for this, and I'm in fear for Kay and my cousins. I'm going to... In a blur, Tellerran sprang and tagged Sam across the cheek, knocking her down. It was a ferocious punch, squarely landed, something Sam didn't think of. Konox would have in her. Sam felt one of her teeth come loose and a warm flow of blood. Tellerran dropped down on top of her and they came to grips. Tellerran staying close, trying to prevent Sam from using her superior strength. She fought dirty, biting Sam's cheek, drawing blood. She grabbed a handful of Sam's hair and wrapped it around her neck, trying to choke her out. Tells, play nice, Ennez said from his seat. Through the curtain of her hair, Sam felt the sole of Tellerran's boot come up and get her hard in the chin. No kicking, Sam cried. Who's kicking? Tellerran growled as she followed up with another kick to Sam's ribs. She then plunged her claws into Sam's chest just below the ribs. It was a common tactic in monoma fighting, meant to cause debilitating pain. Sam's chest was blasted in agony. She heard another voice. Come on, Sam! You can take this little shrimp! Get mad! Sounded like Sarah. Sam flailed about with her hands. She latched onto cloth and ripped down, tearing Tellerran's white shirt and taking some skin along with it. She clamped down and got 2 good fistfuls of Tellerran's black hair. She pulled hard and wrenched the fistfuls out of her opponent's scalp. Tellerran gave a ragged scream as Sam rolled on top of her. She reared back and kneed Tellerran twice in the gut. Sam got to her feet, lined her up, and socked Tellerran hard across the cheek with a sickening slap, returning the favor. Tellerran slumped and went down, breathing heavily. Sam wanted to keep going to teach Tellerran a lesson with hand and claw not soon forgotten, but she relented and stepped away, holding her chest, leaving Tellerran panting in a heap. Ennez, you might wish to tend to your lady, she wheezed as she began to feel real pain from her wound. Ennez helped Tellerran up. Sam seated herself and watched as Ennez looked Tellerran over. She had to admit, pulling Tellerran's hair out felt good, had helped wash away some of the lonely disquiet of the morning. When Kay got home, she would be able to say in good faith that she upheld her Monoma honor, and that of the House of Blanchford, without resorting to cheating. She was certain Kay would understand and be proud of her conduct. "Now then," Sam said in ennui, "once you get yourself together, darling, let's get headed out to Castle Bloodstein. Or shall we have round 2? Tellerran raised her hand. "Wait, I'm not done fighting yet. Give me a moment, we'll go again." Sam smiled and cracked her knuckles, savoring the prospect of beating on Tellerran some more. "Sure, anything you want, darling. Anything you want." As Sam waited, the familiar figure of Andorra appeared at the mouth of the ruin. She was frantic. "Nee Countess! Nee Countess! Oh, thank creation I located you here. We are receiving word from the locals in the village that a pirate ship is heading into Blanchford Bay and is ignoring control efforts to steer it." A pirate ship? A bloody pirate ship? "Yes! Come quick!" Ennez was still tending to Tellerran. "You better go. I'll take care of Tell. She's got a broken jaw. She was asking for it." Sam put her sandals back on and, favoring her wounded chest, left with Andorra. And with that, we conclude Chapter 2, Ennez and Tellerran. Always fun having a big fight, coming out of nowhere. Now, the whole thing with the weird rube voice I was giving Tellerran when Sam was speaking to her in their native languages. Sam is a product of her upbringing. She's not a perfect person, and she has some jaded opinions about some of the southern Monoma tribes. The Finooks, most of all, even though they seem to have very similar customs and so forth. In Sam's mind, hearing her speak Konox, she sounds like a complete hillbilly, and that's what I was going for with the voice. As well as I can do a generic hillbilly voice like that. That's what I was going for. I thought it worked out well. Books go through lots of different drafts, at least mine do. Initially, it was number 6, also fighting Sam. So Sam had to fight Lady Tellerran and number 6 of the Xandar 44, but I thought it's too much, grinding the story to a halt for these fights, which were largely self-indulgent. So after some debate and internal reflection, I decided to delete number 6 right out of this chapter. Made it a lot shorter. The publisher was getting mad because the word count in this book was starting to balloon a little bit, so the fight with number 6 got chopped. Although I kind of like that one too. And again, Sam talked about hallucinating in the castle, and that, as I mentioned in the previous video, that was a vestige from an earlier draft where she was seeing like a figure following her throughout the castle, and it turned out to be the figure was number 6. But, it was just a little too much. It slowed the story down unnecessarily, so I got rid of the whole number 6 connection. So things are proceeding in a somewhat odd manner. Sam sees Sarah flying around outside her window, and then Sarah kind of disappears, but then while she's fighting with Tellerran, she hears Sarah cheering her on. Didn't see her, just heard her. Now, at the end of the chapter, a pirate ship is pulling up into the bay. Wonder what that's all about. We will find out in the next chapter, Chapter 3, next week, which is called Observing a Wedding. We shift gears and shift locations. Until then, it is almost 4 in the morning. Next week, as I said earlier, Chapter 3, Observing a Wedding, and we'll see a little bit more craziness here at the beginning of the book. Again, the first part, The Dreams in the Wailing Room, isn't a big one. There's only 2 more chapters, and we go to the second part, which is called The Immortal. And things really click in. We put pedal to metal, and things really start happening. So, until then, this is Ren Presents. I'm your host, Ren. Peace